Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Lakshman Hanuman Sita Ram Jayo Lakshman Hanuman Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. It is a great honor and pleasure to be with all of you here at Borivali Gopals Garden School. This place is a very memorable place for me. I spent many years in this school. I don't know how many of you all know. I used to spend at least 3-4 days a week living in this school. Not coming to give lectures. I used to live here, literally. You know, Rohini Nandan Prabhu and Shidama Prabhu, all of them know Krishna Gopal Prabhu. Going through myself, Radheshwar Prabhu, 3 of us would literally live in the school. For weeks and weeks, and I think for almost 4 to 5 years, I spent a lot of my time in this school. So while I was... Mic? ऊपर होना है, ठीक है? Is it sounding better now? Yeah. नहीं वो थोड़ा... Yeah, now it should be fine. Yeah. Is it sounding better? Can you hear better now? Yeah. In fact, I started writing my books also here only. I started writing because of this school. You know, I once, while we were staying over here in the night, we were just roaming around in the school corridor, and I happened to see the library was open. I walked into the library of the school, and I was going through all the books in the library. And then I suddenly realized that most of the books that these kids are reading are written by Western authors. There was Harry Potter, there was, Hardy Boys, Famous Five, and so many books were there. I was really getting disturbed seeing that, I don't see any scripture over here. Why, our Mahabharata, Ramayan and all are not there. So that time going through and myself, we were having a discussion. And, if kids have to read, if they have to start, developing their English skills, vocabulary, they need to read books. So they have to read whatever books is available. So then that's when we realized the problem is not theirs, the problem is ours. We have not created only books for them to read. That day I decided I'll fill up this shelf with books. And that's how I began writing, in this school. And I think I have managed to fill up one shelf at least with books, 60 books, whatever it fits in. But the idea is to fill up the library now. I'm very grateful to be here and for all the opportunities I had to serve in this school. And I'm very grateful to Sridhama Prabhu for having invited me here to be a part of this Sunday feast program with all of you, and on the auspicious occasion of Purushottam Mass, and especially we are celebrating Ramnavmi today. Ramayan is an ocean of wisdom. Every word of the Ramayan is filled with so much of depth and so much of insights that we can apply in our own lives and we can live our lives by. Whenever I'm asked to speak on the Ramayan and I'm not given a topic, a theme, it is so difficult for me because I don't know where to start. I don't know what to focus on, because so many thoughts come in my mind and it just goes all over. So some time back I decided I'm not going to think. Whatever comes out, I'll speak, And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to speak something from the Ramayan, and hopefully what I speak will help all of you and inspire you and to develop more love for Lord Ram. Every character of the Ramayan is unique. And every character of the Ramayan represents something in us that sometimes we are not aware of, and sometimes we have to understand. So we will pick up many characters of Ramayan today, and each character, I'm going to tell you all one story about that character, and we're going to understand from that character something that we can learn and apply in our own lives, and we can improve ourselves. Ramayan is actually a very difficult book. The reason it is a difficult book is because the standard that it sets is so high that you cannot reach there only. It sets a standard so high that we cannot even aspire to reach there. And that's why we have to read this book. Because it gives us a reference how to live our life. And therefore, as we examine these different characters in the Ramayan, we will actually start seeing how these characters innately reflect our own values and our own struggles. I'll start with the character of Sugriv, because that's the character that we can relate to the most. In the Ramayan, Sugriv was one of those Vanaras, one of those personalities who was an utter failure before he met Ram. So all of us in our lives, we are like Sugriv, losers. In fact, the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with stories of losers only, right? In the Bhagavatam, if you study, every single person in the Bhagavatam is a loser. Starting from, Narad Muni, if you study his story, how he was a loser. Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, you look at Vyasdev, you look at any character in the Bhagavatam, they are all losers. And only when you become a loser, you gain Krishna, right? So, unfortunately for most of us, we somehow have an illusion we are winners. We are very successful in our lives, in some illusion. And therefore, we are very far away from Krishna. Sugriv was one of those personalities in the Ramayan that had a lot of struggle. In fact, the way Sugriv gets introduced in the Ramayan also is out of great fear. The first time Sugriv appears in the Ramayan is in the Kishkinda Kanda, the 4th volume of the Ramayan. It's practically after interval, right? And when Sugriv appears, he comes and he sees Ram and Lakshman walking towards, Rishimukha Parvat. And Sugriv starts getting scared. He starts trembling in fear. He starts thinking that they are sent by Vali to kill him. Now imagine not being able to recognize God in your life. God is walking towards you and you're still not able to recognize God. You're thinking He is your enemy, right? So for a lot of us, even when Krishna comes into our life, if we don't have the ability to recognize, we will look at Krishna as our enemy only, right? Fortunately for Sugriv, he had Hanumanji with him. And Hanumanji told him, what are you saying? They are not demons. They are not, evil people. They are oceans of mercy. Karuna Sagar they are. Look at their eyes, so much compassion. Look at their arms. It's filled with strength, but that strength is used for helping people. So like this, Hanumanji introduced Ram and Lakshman, from his point of view. He didn't even meet them, but he recognized God. So Sugriv, when he met Ram for the first time, it was a very interesting conversation. So Sugriv tells Hanuman, you go and test them. So Hanuman, he says, why do we need to test? I know, I can tell you for sure, they are searching for something. They are not here to kill you. They themselves have lost something valuable and they're searching for it. Look at their eyes. Their eyes are constantly looking for something. So, but Sugriv was not convinced. He told Hanuman, go disguise yourself as a bhikshuk sannyasi. Go and test them. After you test them, if you're convinced that they are good people, give me an indication. And if you're convinced that they are bad people, from there only give me indication, I'll run away far away. So he told Hanumanji like this. Hanumanji went and tested him, and obviously Hanuman realized that these two people are really such genuine people. And then Hanumanji tells Ram and Lakshman, please let me take you to Sugriv. So when Ram hears that, he asks Hanumanji, ideally, if someone is sick, if a patient is sick, the patient comes to the doctor, isn't it? If Sugriv needs my help, he should come to me. Hanumanji told Lord Ram, my dear Lord, you're right. If the patient is sick, he comes to the doctor. But if the patient is very sick, doctor goes to him. He said, Sugriv is not a normal patient. He is very, very sick. So you only have to go to him. So Lord Ram, Hanumanji picked up Lord Ram and Lakshman on his shoulders and brought them to Sugriv. And when Sugriv met Lord Ram, he was externally showing that he was very confident. But internally, he was miserable. When Lord Ram came in front of Sugriv, Sugriv is extending his hand to shake hand of Ram. If you ever go in front of God, will you do that? Will you shake hand of God? How are you? Sugriv literally did that. And Hanumanji was thinking, what a fool. He should be falling at the feet of Ram. Instead of that, he's shaking hand of Ram. But Lord Ram understood. This is what a person who is lacking confidence tries to do. He tries to show that I'm more confident than normal. So Sugriv, when he saw Ram, he shook his hand. Ram shook his hand, but Ram pulled him and hugged him. The moment Ram hugged Sugriv, Sugriv's heart melted. He realized, in front of this person, I don't have to show off. In front of this person, I don't have to show something that I am not. I can just be myself in front of this person. And Sugriv started crying tears in front of Lord Ram, because here is someone who is a stranger whom he is meeting for the first time, and yet he is treating him with so much kindness. And here is a brother Vali whom he has lived with all his life. He is treating him with so much harshness. And immediately Sugriv understood the difference between spiritual life and material life. In material life, the best of best people use you. And when you're not useful, they throw you out. But in spiritual life, strangers love you. When you come to the Hare Krishna movement, you suddenly start realizing, all my relatives that were there, they are not really good people. And here are a group of strangers who I have no idea who they are. They are giving me more love than my own people, isn't it? So when Sugriv had that experience with Lord Ram, he realized, this is the person I want to take shelter of. And the first thing that Sugriv did after taking shelter of Lord Ram, he started telling him all his problems. He started telling him all his weaknesses and all his struggles. When you go to a doctor and a doctor asks you, how are you? What do you say? I'm fine. Everything is all right. The doctor will ask you, if everything is fine, why do you come to me? You go to a doctor if things are not fine, isn't it? Nobody goes to the doctor just to pay a visit. Hi, how are you? Just come to see. Long time no see. You go to a doctor only when you're in trouble, isn't it? Sugriv, when he came in front of Lord Ram, he opened his heart and told him exactly all his weaknesses. When Sugriv told Ram all his weaknesses, Lord Ram understood something very important about Sugriv. Ram had an option of either going to Vali for helping him find Sita, or going to Sugriv to help him find Sita. Lakshman asked Lord Ram, my dear Lord, why did you choose Sugriv and not Vali? Vali was already the king. He already had a powerful army. He already was more powerful than Ravan. Ideally, Ram should have gone to Vali to find Sita, isn't it? Problem would have solved much faster. But why did Ram specifically go to Sugriv and not Vali? And this is what helps us identify with Sugriv's character. The difference between Vali and Sugriv was Sugriv was humble and Vali was proud. God doesn't need your strength. He has enough of his own strength. God doesn't need your intelligence. He already has a lot of his own intelligence. God doesn't need your resources. He is the source of all the resources. What God needs is someone who is humble enough to accept, I am weak. So the only thing God looks for in you is humility. And that's the one thing that melts the heart of the Lord. If you have everything else except humility, it doesn't impress Ram. But if you have nothing else and you have humility, that impresses Ram. So Lord Ram got impressed with Sugriv because he said, I am weak, I need help. Because it takes a lot of strength to say, I need help, isn't it? I'm sure all of you understand what I'm saying, isn't it? It takes a lot more strength to say, I need help, than to say, I can help, I can do anything I want, isn't it? And the second qualification of Sugriv was, he was faster than Vali. What is the meaning of that? Faster than, see, Vali was more powerful than Sugriv, but Sugriv was faster than Vali. That's why they ran around the whole universe. But Vali didn't catch him. Right? Why is running so fast important? Because if you have to please the Lord, you have to be faster than pride can catch you. Vali was chasing him, and Sugriv was running away. All of us in our life, we are in the same race. And especially if you become a devotee, you're 100% in that race. Pride is trying to catch you. Right? You come to the Hare Krishna movement, you start chanting, you start reading scriptures, you become a little more knowledgeable, and then after a few years, suddenly you're a senior devotee. It's all pride trying to catch you. And if you're not fast enough to run faster than pride can catch you, you're going to be in big trouble. And this is the meaning of the word Sugriva. Griva means neck. And Sugriva means the one whose neck is bent in humility. That is the qualification of Sugriv. So there is one thing that we can learn from Sugriv. The one thing that you can learn is the humility to say, I need help. The humility to say, I am weak. The Ramayan has some really special personalities who represent things that we always, need to seek for in our own spiritual journeys. I want to share with you a little story which will help us understand a bit about Mother Sita. The Acharyas explained how Sita is such a pivotal person in the Ramayana. In fact, there is one Acharya who says, actually, the entire Ramayana is about Sita, it's not about Ram. It's a story of Sita only. And he gives proof also. Every kand of the Ramayana, Sita is the most important personality in that kand. The Bala Kand of Ramayana is not about the birth of Ram. It is about Ram marrying Sita. The highlight of the Bala Kand is marriage of Sita and Ram. The highlight of the Ayodhya Kand is Sita being banished along with Ram. The highlight of the Aranya Kand is Sita getting kidnapped. The highlight of the Kishkinda Kand is a search for Sita. The highlight of the Sundar Kand is Hanumanji finding Sita. The highlight of the Yuddha Kand is about Ram fighting the war with Ravan and getting back Sita. So literally every kand of the Ramayana revolves around Sita only. Imagine if Sita was not there, what would be Ramayana? Isn't it? In fact, this Acharya says the name Ramayana itself is wrong. It should have been named Sita Ayan. But because Valmiki was a man, he named Ramayan. If a woman had written Ramayan, surely she would have kept it as Sita Ayan. And in fact, the Acharya says the word Ramayan is wrongly spelt. It is Ramayan. Rama is another name of Mother Sita. It's supposed to be Ramayan. So Mother Sita plays so many roles in the Ramayan. And of the 3 prominent roles that Mother Sita plays, the first role that she plays is that of the consort, the divine energy of Lord Ram. The second role that she plays is the role of Guru. She is the teacher, not just for Lord Ram. So when Lord Ram makes a mistake, she corrects him. But she is also the prominent Guru in the Ramayana. She gives instructions to so many personalities. And the third, most important role, she plays the role of a Jiva, of a living entity. And the kidnapping of Sita by Ravan and putting her in Ashokvatika is very symbolic of all of us going through that same journey. All of us are in one sense like Mother Sita. We were in Ayodhya at some point. We were in Vaikunta. We were in Golok at some point. But because we got attracted to the golden deer, we all have come to Lanka. Your Lanka may be Borivali or Kandivali or Goregaon, wherever your Lanka is. Typically, a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom house is nothing but Lanka only, like a small little jail that we are all stuck in. And all around us, there are 700 demonesses. They are all one-eyed, one-eared monsters who are constantly telling us, Ram doesn't exist, only Ravan exists. You chanting, walking somewhere, somebody will come and give you one bhashan. Are, kya kar rahe ho? You are trying to practice spiritual life, somebody in your office is going to tell you, discourage you from practicing. Your family sometimes, people could be discouraging you. So we are all like Mother Sita, trapped in Lanka, very far away from Ram. And at that point in time, the inspiration that we can draw from Sita is very immense. Sita spent 10 months away from Lord Ram. And in those 10 months, she had 2 very important realizations, which is very important for us as sadhakas to imbibe. The first very important realization that Sita had was, I offended Lakshman. That's why I'm here. I doubted Lakshman, I offended Lakshman, and therefore I am here. All of us, at some point of time or the other, we have offended somebody. Therefore we are here in this material world, isn't it? We are not here in the material world just like that. And there's some reason why we are here in the material world. Right now we may think we are devotees, we may think that we are pure devotees or whatever it is. But the very fact that you get up in the morning and you look at yourself and you still have a body, you should know that the body is there for a reason, right? So Sita repented every single day that I offended Lakshman. And the second thing Sita thought every single day was, why did I get attracted to that golden deer, which took me away from Ram? Valmiki, he's such a brilliant writer. In his Valmiki Ramayan, when he describes the golden deer at one point, he calls the golden deer as Abhiram. The word Abhiram means that which is not Ram. So the golden deer represents all those things that are not Ram. Now you decide in your life what is not Ram. Your iPhone 17 Pro. Is it helping you come closer to Ram or is it taking away from Ram? You have to look at everything in your life. Whatever is helping you come closer to Ram, that is good. And whatever is taking you away from Ram, that's the golden deer in your life. And that's called Abhiram. And Sita repented for those 10 months. Why did I get attracted to the golden deer? She never asked Ram for a single thing in her entire life. And in her entire life, the only thing she asked for that golden deer. And that one thing that she asked, which took her away from Ram for such a long time. You ask yourself, every day in the morning, when we ask Ram for something, do we ask for things that bring us towards Ram or take us away from Ram? And this is one thing that Sita repented every single day in Lanka. But as she was sitting in Lanka and meditating on her mistakes, she realized there is one thing that is still my savior in Lanka. And this is really very beautiful. When Sita reached Ashok Vatika, Ravan kept her in Ashok Vatika. He could have kept her anywhere in Lanka, isn't it? Of all places, Ravan kept her in Ashok Vatika only. And when she reached Ashok Vatika, she saw something extremely beautiful that immediately gave her some hope. You know what she saw? In Ashok Vatika, she saw the flowers of the Ashoka tree. When she saw the flowers of the Ashoka tree, she felt so good. Because the way the flowers of this particular tree are is that the middle of the flower there's a whorl, there's like a small stem. And the shape of that particular little whorl that comes out from that flower, it's the shape of a bow. So she took one flower, kept it on this side. She took another flower, kept it on this side. She felt the presence of Ram and Lakshman in her life. Every single day, she kept these two flowers on both her sides. And she felt Ram and Lakshman are protecting me. We are all like Sita in the material world, very far away from Ram, very far away from God. But if you really look, you will find signs of God around you. You don't have to look too far. Just look around. You will find Krishna in some way in your life. You will find Ram in some way in your life. And it might be in the form of a friend, it might be in the form of some devotee coming in, it might be in the form of a book, it might be in the form of some lecture that you have heard, it might be in the smallest things in your life. Ram will come in some form or the other and give you a signal that he is there. When I started writing Ramayan, the first book I wrote, this was in 2013. Till that time, at that point in time, in an entire Chaupati Iskcon, nobody had written books. And I was the first person to write a book that got published by an outside publisher. And a really big publisher. And I was a kid at that time. And I just, a few years back, I joined the ashram. And, people were looking at me in weird ways. What the hell is this fellow doing? Kya chal raha hai? Book writing kar raha hai? I myself was having so many doubts. Main kya kar raha hu? And I had so many doubts. I was kept asking myself, am I qualified to write Ramayan? Is this the right thing for me to do? Is this what I should be? I was very confused at that point. And in that confusion, I was trying to find some answer to be sure that I'm on the right direction. Somehow at that point, I was invited to Mauritius for giving some lectures and all. And this was, I think, my first visit to Mauritius, if I'm not mistaken. And, there was a lot of lectures that are lined up, but there's one particular Bhagavatam class that I got invited to give without any notice. That day morning, 10 minutes before the class, they told me you have to give Bhagavatam class today. And they didn't even tell me the verse number, they didn't tell me anything. So I sat on the Vyasasan, I opened the Bhagavatam on the Vyasasan. I didn't even open the Bhagavatam before that. And it was a verse from the third canto, 2 verses from the third canto of Bhagavatam. And it was in the sequence of their Bhagavatam. It's like every day they do Bhagavatam, every day one verse. It was in the same sequence of their verses of Bhagavatam. And I just happened to be called to give Bhagavatam that day because the speaker was missing or something like that. When I opened the Bhagavatam, the third canto, and I saw these 2 verses, I literally had tears in my eyes. Because in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, the only place where there is anything about Ramayana is in the 9th canto, right, where there is Ram's story. But other than the 9th canto, there are only 2 verses in the entire Bhagavatam that talks about Ramayana, and that is these 2 verses. When I saw those 2 verses, I was zapped. I literally had goosebumps. I didn't know what to say. I was literally disturbed over here because I was not sure whether I'm doing the right thing or not. And here is Ram coming straight from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Uske baad I said, forget it. I am going to bindas Ram Gatha. Then I became very confident after that. So the point is, we are all like Mother Sita. lost in Lanka, very far away from Ram, very far away from Krishna, and we have no idea whether we'll ever get back. But in the middle of all this, if you're really sincere, Krishna will come to you in some way. Ram will come to you in some way. And when Mother Sita saw those two flowers, she said, I have Ram with me. And then from that moment onwards, she was constantly chanting the name of Lord Ram. When Hanumanji came first time to Lanka and he saw Mother Sita, now obviously he had never seen her. Sita didn't have an Instagram account. Ram didn't give him a photo, he didn't send some WhatsApp message saying that this is Sita, Absolutely no way, Hanumanji could recognize Sita. No, there was no connection only. He never seen her. But when Hanumanji saw Sita for the first time, there were two things he saw in Sita that convinced him that this is Sita. The first thing that Hanumanji saw was her lips. He saw she was constantly chanting the name of Ram. Constantly she was chanting the names of Ram. And when Hanumanji saw the lips of Mother Sita constantly chanting the name of Ram, he knew this had to be Sita. But the second, even more powerful thing that Hanumanji saw in Mother Sita that convinced him beyond doubt that this is Sita was when he saw Sita, she looked exactly like Ram. I don't know how many of you have experienced, these elderly husband-wife who have stayed together for a lifetime, they start looking like each other. I don't know if you have experienced this. They actually start looking like each other because they meditated on each other all life long. This is called Sayujya Mukti. They literally become one. And of course, it's also called Sarupya Mukti. You get the same form as the Lord. So Sita here literally became one with Ram. And when Hanumanji saw Sita, he said, wow, this is Ram. So when we are in Lanka, separated from the Lord, so far away from the Lord, the only thing that we can take ashray, shelter of, is the names of Lord Ram. And the more we chant, the more we start resembling the Lord. What is the meaning of resembling? It's not the Mayavad resemblance. It's about resemblance and quality. Qualitative oneness with the Lord. We actually start resonating with the thought process of Ram. We start resonating with the thought process of the Supreme Lord. We start resonating with the qualities of the Lord. And that's what Hanumanji experienced over there. And the moment he saw her, he said, wow, this is Sita. The Ramayan has some very interesting, personalities that bring out the certain qualities that are very beautiful. For example, when Lord Ram meets Vibhishan in Lanka, just before entering Lanka, the first meeting of Vibhishan and Lord Ram is a very beautiful meeting, and this meeting actually illustrates the real meaning of Sharanagati. Now, we are all wanting to take shelter, we are all wanting to surrender to the Lord. But what is the meaning of surrender? This one personality in the Ramayan really gives us a very good idea what Sharanagati means. When Vibhishan was in Lanka, he was the prince, he was like literally the brother of Ravan. He could do whatever he wanted. Nobody ever questioned him. He had all the opulences. He had everything, right? But when Hanumanji came to Lanka, Vibhishan had a very powerful realization after seeing Hanuman in the court of Lanka. See, till that point in time, Vibhishan was a devotee. It's not that he was not a devotee before Hanuman came. He was already a devotee. He was dharmic. In fact, when Brahmaji appeared in front of these brothers and Shurpanaka's sister, Brahmaji asked for boons from from all the siblings, right? Ravan asked for a boon, Kumbhakarna asked for a boon, Shurpanaka asked for a boon, and then finally Vibhishan's turn came. You know what boon Vibhishan asked? Vibhishan said, my dear Lord Brahma, please give me the boon that I never deviate from the path of dharma even a little bit. Ravan And Kumbhakarna said, what nonsense? Is this even a boon? ऐसा कौन पूछता है boon? You know? They asked him, ask something useful. Ask for some power, ask for some siddhis, ask for something useful. Vibhishan said, no. The only thing I want is please give me the boon and never deviate from the path of dharma. The word Bhishan means the one who is scared. And the word Vibhishan means the one who is scared of deviating from dharma. That is the meaning of the word Vibhishan. Now, you and me, do we get scared of deviating from dharma? कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, चलता है. जब we have this whole चलता है attitude, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. थोड़ा इधर खा लिया, थोड़ा उधर खा लिया, कुछ क्या फर्क पड़ता है, कुछ नहीं है. So we all have this whole thought process that we don't get scared of deviating from dharma, right? Prabhupada said that, right? Prabhupada said the problem with our devotees is that they are not scared enough of Maya. So Vibhishan represents that, that element. So when Vibhishan was a devotee from before only. He was a devotee from his childhood, literally. But at the same time, he was living in Lanka. Imagine being a Vibhishan in Lanka. Imagine being Prahlad in Hiranyakashipu's kingdom. It's not easy, isn't it, being that particular person. So Vibhishan, till Hanumanji came, he was a undercover devotee. अंडरकवर डिवोटी मतलब क्या है? अंदर जपा करता है, बाहर एकदम नॉर्मल. मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर लाइक दैट, राइट? Undercover devotees, when we are in the house, when we are in a protective atmosphere, we are like full-fledged devotees. The moment we stepped out, we don't want to show our devotional side, we don't want to show our devotional elements. We are like undercover devotees, But when Hanumanji came there, and what Hanuman had done in Lanka, he had practically burned, he had literally shaken up Ravan's army. One Akshayani Sena he destroyed alone. 1/4 of Ravan's army he destroyed alone. And after that he comes to the court of Ravan. Ravan asks him, who are you? Hanumanji bindas, he says, Daso ham Kaushalendrasya. He said, I am the servant of Ram. When Vibhishan heard that, he said, wow, क्या confidence है? Ravan के सामने बोलना, I am servant of Ram. It requires a lot of confidence. Vibhishan said, I don't think I will ever be able to do this. He really got shaken up that day. He literally, because till that point of time he was thinking, I am a great devotee. That day he realized, to be a great devotee, it needs courage. It needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of internal confidence for me to admit in front of the world that I am a devotee of Ram. And that day Vibhishan decided, bas, someday I want to be like him. So Vibhishan and Hanumanji have a very beautiful conversation. Now this is not in the Valmiki Ramayan, this is in Tulsidasa's Ramayan. Hanumanji is telling Vibhishan, why don't you come with me? Vibhishan says, hey, I am, brother of Ravan. How can I come like that, Hanumanji gives him a very beautiful advice. He says, whose brother you are depends on who is your father. If you think your father is Vishravas, then Ravan is your brother. But if you think your father is Ram, then I am your brother. It's a very interesting thought, isn't it? Now, all of us, we identify with blood relatives so much. We identify with blood relationships so much. But here is Hanumanji trying to redefine that idea of relationship by talking about faith brothers, talking about faith relationships. And he's saying, who is your father? That you decide. If you are convinced Ram is our father, then we know Hanumanji is our brother. As simple as that. That's it. Then after that, Vibhishan, next time he came in front of Ravan in the court, Vibhishan was the one who spoke up. Ravan asked everyone, so how is everything in Lanka? Lanka was burnt totally, charred, literally. And then Ravan called Vishwakarma and rebuilt the whole of Lanka again. And this time he did it in better design, more opulent, more music everywhere, more laughter everywhere, more free wine. Sometimes when you're too scared, you do more of it, right? So Ravan was literally shaken from inside. So just to motivate his people, he was giving more freebies, But the one thing that Ravan couldn't change, he changed all the structure of Lanka, all the architecture, everything got changed. The one thing he couldn't change was the smell. After a lot of burning, that smell remains, right? Kitna bhi perfume mara, wo smell nahi ja raha hai. Ravan was not able to understand whether the smell was actually there or what was in his mind, So Ravan kept asking everyone, is everything all right? Everybody said, no, perfect. That what happened was a mistake. Forget it, That somehow that monkey got a chance and he did what he did. But don't worry, our security systems are very tight now. We have full firewall, no problem at all. Nothing to worry. Only Vibhishan got up and he said, if one monkey has done this, imagine the whole army of monkeys come. What will happen to you all? He was the only one who had the guts to get up and say, this story of emperor is naked. There was one guy tailor who gave nothing to the emperor, saying this is a very special type of cloth. The emperor said, I can't see anything. The tailor said, only someone who has very divine vision can see this cloth. The emperor didn't want to say, I don't have divine. He wore it. And the tailor said, wow, you look so good in this. And the emperor went like this to the court, Everybody saw he's naked, but nobody had to say. Well, finally, one little boy said, hey, emperor is naked over there, So it takes the guts to say that, we really messed up, we lost it. And then Ravan kicked Vibhishan out. When Ravan kicked Vibhishan, he kicked him on his chest with his left leg. See, in Vedic culture, kicking with leg is bad. But kicking with left leg is even worse. So Ravan kicked him with left leg. And Vibhishan, when he got up and he walked out of Lanka, when he walked out of the courtroom, as he was walking out, Valmiki, in his brilliance, he calls Vibhishan, who was walking out of Lanka, as Shriman. Shriman means someone who is very aristocratic, somebody who is very rich, somebody who is very opulent. That is the meaning of the word Shriman. All this time Vibhishan was in Lanka, he had all the money, he had all the wealth, he had all the opulences, everything he had. That time Valmiki didn't call him Shriman. Now he is kicked out. He has nothing. He has become a beggar. He has become a pauper. Now he is calling him Shriman. Why is Valmiki doing that? Because now he has got the real wealth. And what is the real wealth? The 2 lotus feet of Lord Ram. That's the real wealth. And therefore Valmiki says, now he is Shriman. And that is how Vibhishan is portrayed in the Ramayana. So for all of us, we are taking shelter of so many things. And we think this is our true wealth. Whether it is our bank balance, or whether it is our stocks and shares, or whether it is the amount of land that you have, or the amount of gold that you have, or whatever you think you have which is valuable, right? But the Valmiki Ramayana gives value to something totally different, which is the lotus feet of the Lord, the holy names of the Lord. So when we study the Ramayana, and when we study all these personalities in the Ramayana, and each of these personalities adds such a flavor to our own devotion, to our own spiritual life, to our own vision of what it really means to look for value and look for meaning in our own life and our journey. That's what makes the scripture so much richer. So I highly recommend all of you not to do only a superficial reading of these scriptures. Now these scriptures are timeless. They are bottomless. I have been studying the Ramayana for the last 15 years. And yet I can tell you, every time I read, I hear, and I'm trying to understand and meditate on these verses and these stories, I find so much more meaning and so much more depth in them, so much more satisfaction in the heart. And that is our true opulence, that is our true wealth. So let us all take take really deep shelter of Lord Ram, of the Ramayan, and of the unlimited teachings that our acharyas have given us, and the depth of these teachings that can completely change and transform the way we look at life. I'll end with one little story that will help us understand the power of Lord Ram's holy names. One time, just after the war gets over, and Lord Ram is king of Ayodhya. Lord Ram was ruling in Ayodhya, and he had organized an Ashwamedha Yajna. And kings from all over the world were invited to be a part of the Ashwamedha Yajna. And as a part of the invitation, the king of Kashi also happened to come for that Yajna. Narad Muni saw this king of Kashi. He called him and he said, I want you to do something. Just do what I tell you to do. Don't ask me any questions. The king of Kashi said, you're Narad Muni, you're telling me I will do whatever you tell me. Narad Muni told him, go to the Yajna of Lord Ram. In that Yajna, you'll find many, many sages and many great personalities. You can go and offer obeisances to all the great personalities. But when you see Vishwamitra Muni, don't even look at him and don't pay obeisances to him. This king of Kashi said, why are you saying like that? Narad Muni said, see, I told you don't ask me questions. Just do what I say. The king of Kashi said, okay. He went to Lord Ram's Yajna and he offered respects to everybody. And he didn't even look at Vishwamitra Muni. And Vishwamitra Muni was boiling in anger. He said, what a disrespect this is. How can he do this to me? And he called Lord Ram. And he said, in your kingdom, what is this happening? How can you tolerate it? Lord Ram was bewildered. He said, what happened? So Vishwamitra Muni said, this fellow, this king of Kashi, he didn't pay obeisances to me. He's paying respects to everybody else. How can you tolerate disrespect to your guru? Lord Ram immediately removed 3 arrows from his quiver. And he said, by today, sunset, I will kill this king of Kashi with these 3 arrows. And then this king of Kashi got to know that Ram has taken this vow. And the king of Kashi was really bewildered. Because Rama is Ekavachani, right? Once he tells something, he will do it. The king of Kashi ran to Narad Muni and he said, please, what have you done to my life? I have messed my life now. Rama has taken a vow like this. Narad Muni smiled. He said, I knew it will happen. And he said, I will tell you a solution now. Do what I say now. The king of Kashi had no option anyways. He said, please tell me. So Narad Muni said, go to Anjana, the mother of Hanumanji, and tell her that someone is coming to kill you, by sunset, and you need protection. But don't tell her who it is. So the king of Kashi goes to Anjana and he begs her for help and all that. And he says, my life is in trouble. Anjana said, don't worry, my son is there. And she called Hanumanji. And she told Hanumanji, your duty is to make sure that whoever is going to kill him doesn't kill him. Hanumanji said, fine, man. He took his mother's, instructions, and then he asked the king of Kashi, who is the person who is going to kill you? And the king of Kashi said, Lord Ram. And then Hanumanji was thinking, what is this? How can you do this? How can you put me against my Lord? And Hanumanji was totally bewildered. But he knew now that this situation has come, he has to deal with it. He told the king of Kashi, I'll tell you something that you should do. Hanumanji took him to Sarayu river. And he told the king of Kashi, stand inside the Sarayu river and start chanting the name of Ram. I will stand right next to you and I'll also chant the name of Ram with you. So Hanumanji stood next to the king of Kashi in the Sarayu river, and both of them were chanting the name of Ram constantly. And as the sun set, the king of Kashi, his heart started palpitating because he knew now the arrow of Ram will come. And lo and behold, the sound of Lord Ram's arrow came. And the arrow was coming slowly towards king of Kashi's neck. And he began to chant intensely. And the moment the arrow reached the neck of the king of Kashi, the Hanumanji caught the arrow, broke it and threw it in the water. Lord Ram knew his one arrow didn't work. He sent a second arrow. That arrow also Hanumanji made sure it didn't kill him. And then Ram sent a third arrow. And that arrow also Hanumanji made sure it didn't kill him. Now Ram was really angry because never it has happened that he has taken a vow and it has not happened. He came over there personally and he saw Hanumanji standing next to him. He asked Hanumanji, whose servant are you? What are you doing? I have taken a vow. Don't you know this? Lord Hanumanji said, my dear Lord, I know that you have taken a vow. But what do? I also am bound by one vow. Whoever chants your names, I have to protect that person. So he said, this is my vow, And because I have taken a vow, I had to decide whether your arrow is more important or your name is more important. And then Lord Ram realized, this is a checkmate, And exactly at that time, Narad Muni comes. And he tells the king of Kashi, go and fall at Vishwamitra's feet. The king of Kashi ran and fell at Vishwamitra Muni's feet. And then Vishwamitra Muni tells Lord Ram, leave him, And then that's how the whole thing got resolved. But this story teaches us a very, very powerful principle in life. More powerful than Ram is the name of Ram. We may not have access to Ram, but we have access to his name. So let us all, in the spirit of Mother Sita, in the spirit of this king of Kashi, and in the spirit of all those personalities in the Ramayan who teach us such powerful things, let us meditate and chant the holy names of Ram and take very intense shelter of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we'll have 10 minutes of Kirtan now, and let us very intensely absorb ourselves in the holy names of Ram and understand how powerful the names of Ram actually are. Okay? Hare Krishna.